Hello, my pretties. It's Lion Queen here. Welcome to episode 256 of Shadows and Pretties. And today we're going to be doing a review on another Stephen King movie based on the novel by the same name. So today we're going to be looking at this 1990, well, not 1990, 1980 not remake, but movie called The Shining. Now, this is a film that I've decided to, take a look at that. So there is another Stephen King movie that came out 39 years after the original film, a sequel called Doctor Sleep, which was released back in 2019. So, of course, we have this movie called The Shining, which came out in 1980. So, I thought I would go ahead and, do this movie because, I have I've done a few Stephen King, movies such as, the Green Mile, which I did that one. I also did a review on Carrie, so I thought, you know what, let me do The Shining next. So, The Shining, most of you guys pretty much know this movie by this famous quote, "Here's Johnny," type thing. So, with that being said, and that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and review this movie, especially for those who haven't watched this movie in a really long time and would want a refresher. But also, I would have to really say that I'm going to be doing this one, because I felt like reviewing this movie. Although I haven't really watched it in a while, so yeah. And for those who haven't seen this movie, I am going to say that there is some lot of stuff that was taken out because whatever be some controversy or something. But of course, with that being the case and that being said, I think we should go on. And what's really shocking is that Shelley Duvall is in this movie. I did not even know that she was in there. She was mainly there for, children shows like Fairy Tale of and, bedtime stories. I mean, I never expected her to be in this one until I rewatched this one again. And I'm like, holy hell, she actually was in this one. I did not even know that. That is a shocker. I never expected her to be in a Stephen King movie. But, with that being said, The Shining's definitely another of my personal favorites. So I think we should go ahead and review this one. So, in the review of this film, for any of you guys who are wondering about this, I am going to say right now that this is definitely a one crazy movie. I'm not going to lie. This one was definitely a really amazing film. Now, like I said before, I think we should go ahead with the review. So basically, this film is about Jack Torrance, who takes a winter caretaker position at the remote Overlook Hotel in the Rocky Mountains, which happens to be very closes for every winter season. So after his arrival, his manager Stuart Alleman advises Torrance that the previous caretaker Charles Gradley killed his family and himself in the hotel. So in the Boulder, Jack's son Danny is had a promotion and seizure but of course, eventually Jack's wife, Wendy, tells a doctor about the past incident when Jack accidentally dislocated Danny's shoulder during a drunken rage. Now, Jack has been sober ever since the incident, but before leaving for the seasonal break, the Overlook's head chef, Dick Halloran, informs Danny of the telepathic ability the two share, which he calls a shining. Halloran then tells Danny about the hotel that has a shine due to the residue from the unpleasant past events, and warns him to avoid room 237. So a month passes, and Danny starts having frightening visions, including Grady's murdered his twin daughters. Meanwhile, Jack's mental health deteriorates, although he is nowhere to with his writing. He is prone to violent outbursts, in which he has dreams of killing his family. Eventually, Danny gets lured to room 237, and by unseen forces, Wendy later finds him out with signs of psychological or physical trauma. So Jack investigates and encounters a female ghost in the room, but blames Danny for self inflicting on the bruises, although Jack is hence back to the drinking by the ghostly bartender, Lloyd. Ghostly figures, including Dilbert Grady, then begins appearing in the gold room. Grady informs Jack that Danny has telepathic and contracted Halloran for his assistance, and says that Jack must correct his wife and child. Eventually, Wendy finds Jack's manuscript, and with all work and no play, makes a Jack Boy Dull Boy written repeatedly on the differing formats. So, When Jack and threatens her life, Wendy knocks him out unconscious with a baseball bat and locks him into the kitchen pantry. But she and Danny cannot leave until Jack has having previously sabotaged the hotel's two-way radio and Snowcat. So back in their hotel room, Danny says the redrum repeatedly while simultaneously writing the word in lipstick in the bathroom door. Wendy sees the word in the mirror and realizes that the word is actually murder spelled backwards. Jack is freed from Grady, and after Wendy, he goes after with Danny with an axe. Eventually, Danny escapes from the outside of the bathroom window, and Wendy fights Jack off with a knife and then breaks through the door. Hallorannan, having flown back from Colorado from his Florida vacation to respond to Danny's plea for help. He reaches the hotel of another snowcat, and his arrival distracts Jack, who ambushes and murders Halloran in the lobby. He pursues Danny over the hedge in the maze, while Wendy runs through the hotel looking for Danny. While encountering the hotel's ghosts and visions of cascading blood, similar to Danny's premonition. So in the hedge maze, Danny misleads Jack and hides behind a snowdrift while Jack is following a false trail. When Danny and Wendy reunite and then leave Halloran's snowcat behind, leaving Jack to freeze to death in the maze. So in the photograph in the hotel hallway, Jack is pictured to be standing amidst to a crowd of party revealers from July 4th, 1921, and that's how the movie ends. I mean, with Shelley Duvall being cast as Wendy Torrance, I honestly really thought that she did a pretty good job as that, as well as a couple other actors. But I definitely gotta say, this movie was definitely a pretty good movie by Stephen King. I mean, the book of it was pretty good, even though it has changes. But I personally like the story. I personally really like this movie. I mean, in the European cut, this is going to be sound stupid, but this has only happened in European releases. All of the scenes involving Jackson and Burton were removed out, but in the credits remained unchanged as Denon is seen on screen in the visions of the film, albeit to a limited degree and with no dialogue in the European cut. The actress, however, who plays the ghosts and murder Grady daughters, Lisa and Louise Burns, are identical twins. However, the characters in the book and the film script are merely sisters and not twins. But in the film's dialogue, Ullman then says that they're about 8 and 10. Nonetheless, they are frequently referred to the discussions about the film as Grady's twins. Now, the resemblance of staging of Grady's girls in the twins photograph and by Diane Arbus, who has been noted about both Arbus' biographer named Patricia Bosworth, the Kubrick assistant who cast and coached him, Leon Vittel, and numerous Kubrick critics, although Kubrick had both met Arbus and personally have studied the photography under the name as the photographer of Look magazine. Kubrick's window says that did not deliberately model the Grady girls on Abruptless's photograph, in spite of the widespread attention with the resemblance. I mean, they did a pretty good job casting as well as the film and all that, and they did pretty good job. Although most of the filming, I am definitely gonna say were pretty interesting. Although the sets are honestly well made in detail, I like the concept of it. It's just a really good, well made movie. Although there is, of course, a few releases. I do believe there is like a sequel to this movie that came out in 2019, which I've not seen the sequel to it yet, so I'm gonna not bother reviewing the sequel until I've actually seen it. So in the sequel, I can definitely say it's called Doctor Sleep, which I have not seen yet, but I do plan to actually see that in the future. So of course, the book is pretty different compared to the movie, so I can definitely say, there is pretty much a film adaptation for Doctor Sleep. Well, they began doing that in 2013, in which is pretty much, a sequel to The Shining. But however, though, this film honestly was pretty well done. I mean, it's a pretty good horror movie. I mean, The Shining was still a really good movie. It does have a lot of great, disturbing scenes, but it's pretty good for an 80s movie. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's a pretty good movie, especially for something that had been made in the 80s. I have not watched this movie in like ages, but I do plan to maybe, rewatch this movie in the future cuz I'm going to have to consider that in the future. So, yeah, anyways, with that being said, still a good story. I personally like this movie, and for anybody who is a Stephen King fan like myself, I highly recommend they check out this movie. So, to anybody who is a Stephen King fan, if you want to look for some good horror movies, I suggest checking out this one, The Shining. Now, I personally really thought that it was a good movie. I personally enjoyed it. And for those who like the movie, I will definitely say, I give them a thumbs up. And if you don't like this movie, I respect your opinion if you do not like this movie, because I respect your opinion if you like it or not. Anyways, I highly recommend this movie for anybody who is, you know, interested in Stephen King films, and I highly recommend they check this one out. It's a pretty good movie. You will not be disappointed. It's a really well-made film. I personally enjoyed it, and I really I'm going to say right now that if you don't like this movie, that's your opinion. I respect your opinion. But I kind of wonder if there is a remake of The Shining, but I don't think there is. But if they ever were to be a remake of it, I really hope they do just as good as they did the remake of the It movie, which I do plan to get to that one eventually and somewhere down the line in the future if I get the opportunity to. So there's that. But other than that, it's a pretty good movie. I personally liked it. So, anyways, with that being said, and that being the case, what did you guys think of Stephen King's The Shining? Did you enjoy this movie? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make the movie a lot better, because I personally would like to hear what you all think. Feel free to let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to leave this video a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. Also, I do have my Discord, like my Discord account, so if you guys want to add me, you can. I do have a Twitter page for any of you guys who are interested in checking out my Twitter. I have a DeviantArt page for any of you guys who are interested in that. And I also have my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo for any of you guys who are, you know, interested in that one as well. Be sure to sub to that one if you haven't. And as always, I will be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out, and like always, I'll see you all next time.